Who are some of the craziest influencers out there? Let's get started with number 5. The worst girls to know. Kidnappers held influencer Angela Bowyer's boyfriend, Peter Vuong, for ransom in connection with Bowyer's past criminal activities. The kidnappers consisted of a group of 6 men who took Vuong from his Sydney home while he was in bed with his girlfriend. They held the Sydney businessman for 5 days, demanding a $5 million ransom for his release. During Vuong's time as a hostage, the kidnappers were particularly brutal with him. Syra Elcare, a state government agency employee, misused her access to personal data to supply the kidnappers with Vuong's information. Many people knew Bowyers as a glamorous influencer on TikTok who had endorsement deals with many successful brands. She also operated Cloud9 Studio, an exclusive event space that she'd rent out for brand launches, photo shoots, baby shoes, and engagement parties. Before she became an influencer, Bowyer was once a member of a gang that sold illegal substances and served time in jail related to her role in that group. Vuong claimed his captors demanded the ransom from Bowyer's wealthy crypto trader and property developer relative, Bryan. The kidnapping brought Bowyer's criminal past to light and her arrest following a sting operation. In 2017, an undercover officer infiltrated the gang Bowyer was associated with. He called himself Jim and paid a gang member a $1,000 deposit as part of a much bigger purchase of illegal substances and met up with him 5 days after to pay an additional $49,000. Jim met Bowyer and her then boyfriend Gian Hun in a designated location where the couple instructed him to follow them as they drove to Bowyer's family home. Jim entered the house where Hun and another man counted out the money and handed Bowyer $7,000 to take upstairs. Jim then drove to another address to pick up a commercial quantity of illegal substances. About a month later, Hun told Jim he could supply illegal substances by the kilo. Jim arranged another purchase of $55,000. Jim drove to the home of one of the gang members, and Hun, Bowyer, and a third man met him there. They took him into the backyard to count the money. Hun gave him a backpack filled with powdery substances, which Jim handed over to police for an analysis of the substances. Jim made his final deal in May when he arranged to purchase almost $200,000 of substances. The couple led Jim to a house to pick up the substances, and when they arrived, Hun and Bowyer fought over who would retrieve Jim's order, as Hun claimed he had hurt his foot. Bowyer eventually grabbed the items and gave them to Hun, who then handed them to Jim. Police swiftly arrived at the scene to arrest Hun, Bowyer, and the person that lived at the house, as well as seizing the substances and the cash. 6 years later, Bowyer was dealing with gang activity again. Armed police stormed the property to rescue Vuong, where they found him blindfolded on a bed. Elcare was arrested for abusing her position to assist with Vuong's kidnapping and faced charges of accessing restricted data held on a computer, unauthorized function with intent of serious offense, participating in criminal group activity, and more. The 6 kidnappers were arrested and charged with their role in the kidnapping. We know relationships can be complex, but talk about baggage. Number 4. Miss Congeniality. Fitness influencer Tammy Steffens took extreme measures to threaten and harass coworkers and competitors in the fitness community. Steffen ran Beyond Fit Bikini, a Florida-based business dedicated to training and coaching bodybuilders and bikini competitors. However, when her relationship with her business partner soured, she unleashed her fury on the fitness community. Steffens repeatedly contacted at least 6 people. She called, emailed, texted, and contacted them via social media over 2 years. Not only did she try to destroy their professional careers, but she also threatened extreme violence against people's lives and their loved ones. At one point, she alluded to being on her way to one of her victims' houses with a weapon. In one of her bizarre attempts at ruining a former business partner's reputation, Steffen reported to police that the business partner left a headless doll on her front porch with a note stating it was for Steffen's kids. She followed the headless doll incident by reporting to police that someone had tried to kidnap her young daughter. According to Steffen, someone grabbed her daughter's arm and attempted to drag the girl into a wooded area. area. Steffen also claimed that her black laptop cover was left near the location of the alleged incident, which had a notepad with Steffen's personal information inside it. She tried to match the kidnapper's description to that of her former business partner, but the partner had a strong alibi. The police spoke to Steffen's daughter, who asked officers what would happen to her if she told them the truth. Soon after, authorities learned Steffen bought the same kind of notepad and laptop cover several days before the incident at her local Walmart. They also found a witness who heard Steffen and a friend discussing their plan to leave the headless doll on the porch. When Steffen wasn't conducting elaborate schemes, she was creating social media accounts and sending endless intimidating messages. She made at least 369 Instagram accounts filled with graphic threats. In July 2018, shortly after the alleged kidnapping incident, law enforcement arrested and charged her for filing a false police report, tampering with or fabricating physical evidence, and not taking care of her kid. When she was in custody, she called her daughter from a recorded jail phone line to convince her to tell the police that she was the one that made up the kidnapping plot. She told her daughter that she wouldn't get in trouble if she admitted to lying, but if the police thought Steffen was the one that made up the incident, she would be. Deputies added witness tampering charges in response to the phone call. Steffen's outrageous behavior stemmed from her belief that her ex-business partner swayed the votes at a fitness competition she lost. She called one fitness business owner so many times that the company couldn't answer customer calls. When the business stopped answering Steffen's calls, she hacked the company's voicemail and changed the voicemail message to sounds that were particularly explicit. Although the police confirmed the allegations were untrue, Steffen did everything she could to tarnish her former partner's reputation and harass other competitors. After Steffen's original arrest for filing a false police report, authorities dug into her campaigns of intimidation and harassment. A few months after her original stint in jail, federal agents arrested her on stalking charges. She pled guilty to cyber stalking and sending online threats and was sentenced to almost 5 years in prison. Number 3. Strange motivation. OnlyFans star Louisa Espinoza was arrested after an investigation into her account uncovered criminal activity. The Ecuadorian social media influencer, whose stage name is La Vampira, meaning vampire woman, was very popular on the social media platform. She had been a dancer since she was young and had a successful 5-year career, as well as appearing in several reality TV shows. Although she had been successful, her most lucrative endeavor was working on OF. Espinoza charged $30 per month to access her photos and videos. Subscribers were shocked when the content of her videos developed a sinister tone. She shared content involving minors, and an additional video with a younger family member got into the hands of the media. She also posted content to Twitter, but admins quickly removed them. Espinoza likely worked with 2 other people who filmed her videos and helped her edit the material. Ecuadorian police raided their properties and arrested the trio. Officers uncovered filming equipment, electronic devices, and 10,000 videos with explicit and illegal footage. Espinoza faced up to 26 years behind bars. Number 2. The Money Saving Committee. Micro-influencer and entrepreneur Sidra Humaid conned several women out of millions of dollars in a Ponzi scheme. Humaid, who social media users and news outlets have referred to as the committee swindler, was active in many social media groups where she raised funds, sold artisanal items, and presented herself as a devout Muslim. She ran over 100 financial saving companies, a popular and traditional form of informal savings in Pakistan. The country has a population of 220 million, but only 2 out of 10 women have bank accounts. Committees are a path to financial freedom for many Pakistani women, and Humaid's committees seemed like a great place to begin that journey. Business owner Miriam joined one of Humaid's committees so that she could save for unexpected medical expenses. She put in $1,000, but her money abruptly vanished. Miriam presumed it was money mismanagement, but learned she was one of many others who had experienced the same thing. Humaid took to Facebook to apologize for the situation, acknowledging she had made a big mistake. Apparently, she'd got caught in a Ponzi scheme where she lost more money than she could count. She also stated clearly that she wasn't a scammer or someone that would steal from others. The apology may have seemed more sincere if Humaid hadn't been bragging on social media days before. Committees were created in South Asia to offer women an opportunity to have their own savings in a world where the banking system is often inaccessible to women. A savings committee is often composed of dozens of people with one leader. The leader holds monthly cash installments from each member and helps them work towards a shared goal. For example, if a group of 10 women want to save $1,500, they'll each contribute $75 a month. After 2 months, there will be a lucky draw ballot, and one member will get a payout of $1,500. There's no interest in the payouts, and financial experts generally consider committees a bad way to save money as they don't account for recessions or other economic downturns. However, for most women in Pakistan, committees are a lifeline. Banks aren't usually welcoming to women in the country, and opening an account is very difficult as the financial institutions want proof of income. Bankers typically don't want to work with women or see them as high risk, which makes them much less likely to give them access to financial guidance and services. When women enter committees, they don't need to hide cash at home, which their husbands or other family members could get their hands on. Committees are formed amongst groups of people that know and trust one another. There's rarely a paper trail for a committee since it's an informal and flexible system which can be beneficial to members who suddenly need money before it's their turn. Committees can help open businesses, fund education, and provide emergency cash when they're correctly run. However, in Humaid's case, her committees were a big setback for women looking to establish themselves financially. Many social media users spoke out against the women that trusted Humaid, claiming they should never have given money to someone through their social media account. They also said they hoped Humaid's victims learned not to trust an influencer with their money. Women often have to trust influencers with their money as they have nowhere else to turn. They can't trust the justice system, and many feel the only option is to turn to committees. Humaid tried to mitigate the harmful exposure by attempting to silence her victims with a string of threats. Since committees are founded on members trusting one another, scamming members of her committees would have completely destroyed her reputation. The victims didn't want to take legal action as they feared they wouldn't be taken seriously and felt the only option was an out-of-court settlement. Recovering financially from the losses was far more complicated than just getting back their original investments. Victims often have to deal with owing money to other committee members and the fallout from people that loaned them money for their initial commitments. Humaid contacted her investors to let them know she was taking steps to pay everyone back. It sounds like these women really need the help, so we hope she comes through. If you're enjoying this video, be sure to stay tuned right here and don't click anywhere for our past release for more dumb things that influencers do. Number 1. The typical profile. Social media influencer Vera Zinger seemed to live an exciting and glamorous life until her arrest for possessing and supplying illegal substances. Police pulled over Zinger while she was on a road trip and found 2 grams of illegal substances and $2,150 in cash. It would be hard to tell by Zinger's social media posts that she was having legal troubles and shared images of herself promoting a swimwear brand 3 days after the arrest. The glamorous Instagram model earned a living by promoting products like skimpy swimwear to her followers. She built her career by flashing her luxurious lifestyle and recently, before the arrest, shared pictures of her travels throughout Europe. She posted pictures of herself in skimpy bikinis and stunning backdrops of places like Barcelona, Ibiza, Mykonos, and Santorini in the background. Zinger's arrest was part of a much bigger operation where police took 84 people into custody over 6 days over contraband supply and distribution. Law enforcement claimed 46 of those arrested were dealers. However, Zinger was not included in that list. Some of the other people arrested included a taxi driver and a pregnant woman who had large amounts of powdery substances in their vehicle. The pregnant woman attempted to hide the contraband inside an empty energy drink can. Over the course of the sting, officers uncovered 350 grams of contraband and $69,500. They didn't target a specific location, but observed people's behavior and targeted anyone that seemed suspicious. Zinger didn't let her involvement in the sting slow down her career while she awaited her court hearing. Although, if she was that hard up for cash, a sugar daddy might have been better than turning to illegal activities. Here are a few people who completely exposed themselves. Number 10. David Guerra. Someone should have told David that you shouldn't post evidence of your crimes on social media. This genius from San Antonio's South Side posed for the camera holding cash, guns, and let's call it illegal substances because, thanks YouTube censors. Clearly, David was looking for attention, and he got it. Shortly after he posted the images came to the attention of the Bexar County Sheriff's Department. They sent 3 different divisions after Guerra, and it didn't take long for them to find his car and pull him over. car. In the car, they found illegal substances, a loaded gun, and cash. The sheriffs also found another man in the car with them, Guerra. They arrested them both. We don't think they let you post on Instagram from jail, so we may not hear from them for a while. Number 9. Paula Asher. It was bad enough that a Kentucky woman made the awful choice to drive drunk. But when Paula Asher slammed into a car filled with 4 teenagers, she made things even worse by driving away. Police inevitably caught up with her and charged her with 4 crimes: driving under the influence, leaving the scene of an accident, driving under the influence of alcohol, and possession of a controlled substance. Asher didn't keep quiet afterwards, though her lawyer probably wishes she did. In her infinite wisdom, she decided to post on Facebook about how she got drunk and hit another car. She made sure to end the post with the signature LOL. It's one thing to make terrible choices. It's something entirely worse to laugh out loud about them on social media. Outraged families saw and shared the post with the judge in the case. The judge was, shall we say, unhappy. When Judge Mary Jane Phelps saw Asher in court for the first time, she told her to delete that Facebook account. But Asher did not delete her Facebook account. Another in a series of unwise decisions. When the judge found out, Asher was found in contempt of court and sentenced to spend 2 days in the county jail. In another DUI or LOL moment, Oregon teen Jacob Cox Brown had a serious wake-up call driving drunk. He too joked about his crime on Facebook when he wrote, "Driving drunk. Classic. But I am sorry to whoever's vehicle I hit." He ended the post with a sticking your tongue out emoji. 2 of his Facebook friends shared the post with police, who promptly arrested Jacob. When you post something like that, you've got to assume it won't stay private for long. Number 8. Nicholas Grove. He did not want to go to jail. So, when cops brought him in for booking, he decided to run away. He was originally arrested for stealing computers, checks, and credit cards from an Oregon Education District building. Nicholas couldn't bear the thought of prison, so as they were booking him, he hopped over a counter and ran away. Freedom didn't last long. They scooped him back up later that summer and booked him, successfully this time, to await trial. Still, Grove was determined. Grove seized another opportunity in the rec yard by climbing over the fence, a fence topped with razor wire, and went on the run again. This time, he made it to Mexico. Maybe Nicholas thought that he was Andy Dufresne, the character from The Shawshank Redemption who broke out of prison to live out his days in Mexico. He wasn't. If you watch the movie carefully, you'll notice that Andy Dufresne never posted anything on Facebook. But while Nicholas lived a life of freedom in Mexico, he just kept posting. He posted selfies of himself in and around Cancun, which made it pretty easy for police to find him once they got the info from Facebook. A year and a half later, U.S. Marshals swooped in to Tulum, Mexico, and picked up the fugitive. They hauled him back to Oregon to face trial for his original crimes and a new one, felony escape. He got 5 years. Number 7. Dakari Mechaff. A Los Angeles man named Dakari Mechaff thought he cracked the code to get famous on social media. For some reason, he felt the secret to Twitter fame involved showing the world your gun and aiming it at people. Then he said if he got 100 retweets, he'd use it on someone. It didn't take long for cops to figure out who posted the image and caption on Twitter. It also didn't take long for them to arrest Mechaff and bring him to jail. We don't know how long it'll take for this Los Angeles sniper to learn his lesson, but we doubt he'll post about it when he does. Number 6. Orlando Henderson. He just loved to flaunt his luxury lifestyle on social media. He took pictures of himself next to his brand new Mercedes and posted them, claiming to be building his brand. He also posted pictures of himself holding huge stacks of cash. While he posted like a famous rapper, Orlando was a lowly bank teller in North Carolina. We're not sure how many likes he got, but we do know the FBI were not his biggest fans. However, Henderson was pretty brave in his plot to rob his own bank. He just walked into the vault, grabbed people's cash, and deposited it into his account at an ATM around the corner. In all, he made off with $88,000. He put $20,000 down to buy the new Mercedes that he proudly posed with for social media. Once the FBI got involved, Orlando's life of luxury came crumbling down. Orlando was charged with a few counts of fraud and 19 separate counts of theft and embezzlement. With decades in prison and millions of dollars in fines heading his way, Orlando probably wishes he stayed off social media. Find out more about Orlando by clicking here. Number 5. Lee Van Bryan. After a long flight from London, Lee Van Bryan landed in Los Angeles with his friend Emily Bunting. Lee and Emily made it through passport control. However, less than friendly Homeland Security agents prevented them from taking another step. In this case, it wasn't that Lee and Emily had done something. It wasn't even that they were planning to do something. Instead, border agents detained and grilled them over some cheeky tweets Lee posted before traveling to LA. Before leaving, he posted about how he would destroy America and dig up Marilyn Monroe's grave. Not exactly wise, but still just a tweet. What the border agents didn't understand, according to Lee, is that destroy is slang for party. So when he tweeted that he was going to destroy America, he was talking about partying. Oh, and he didn't mean it when he tweeted 3 weeks prior that they were going to Hollywood Boulevard to upset people and dig up Marilyn Monroe's grave. In fairness, maybe it was all a big misunderstanding. It seems likely that Lee and Emily were traveling to LA to have fun and party. And as they pointed out to the border agents, digging up Marilyn Monroe's grave is a joke he lifted from the show Family Guy. The Department of Homeland Security was having none of it, though. So instead of a hearty welcome to America, they got a trip in a police van and an overnight stay in a holding cell. Lee met some nice men in his holding cell who were allegedly huge and covered with tattoos. They told him they'd been arrested for smuggling substances into the country. Then they took his dinner. The next day, it was back to the airport for Lee and his friend, where they were sent home on a jet. Number 4. Dominic Alfonseca. Dominic will have you know, he's the victim in this story. All he did was walk into a bank and ask for some money. He smiled at the teller and handed her a note. He said please and thank you. What we know at this point is that Dominic was a very polite bank robber. His note, though, was a little more urgent. It said he needed the money right now because it only takes the police 3 or 4 minutes to arrive. Then it said to ring the alarm a minute after he's gone and make sure the money doesn't blow up on his way out. He even put a little smiley face at the end. He walked out with a bag full of cash and was arrested 22 minutes later. Alfonseca didn't waste those 22 minutes. That was all the time he needed to make a couple of Instagram posts sharing videos of the robbery and a photo of the note he'd given the teller. The reason why Alfonseca believed he was the victim is pretty simple. He never threatened the teller or anyone else. He just politely asked for the money. It's not his fault she was generous. Nothing to do with the fact that he was an aspiring rapper who posted the photo and videos for exposure. Not one to miss an opportunity, Alfonseca took some time in a jailhouse interview to give shoutouts to Michelle Obama, Justin Bieber, and Lady Gaga. Number 3. Augustine Drew. On a sunny January afternoon on Staten Island, Augustine made a little clip for his Instagram followers. He filmed himself strolling down the sidewalk and chatting with a postal service worker. Then he filmed himself walking into a bank and telling a cashier how lovely she was. He was careful to say he was a one-woman man, but if he weren't, he would marry her. Finally, Augustine turned to the room and shouted at the top of his lungs, "This is a robbery!" Then he left. Augustine didn't stick around to get any money. If he had, things would have gotten a lot worse for him. Even so, the police were happy to charge him with several crimes. In a hilarious twist, this was the second bank he, quote, robbed that day. He also had an open case from 2018 in which he walked into another bank and pulled the same stunt. In the end, he was charged with reckless endangerment. Police also found a little bit of weed on him, which was still illegal at the time. Number 2. Harim Shah. Some people never learn. Take this Pakistani TikTok star, for instance. In 2019, Shah filmed herself in the conference room of Pakistan's Ministry of Foreign Affairs, something that's strictly forbidden. If she just kept quiet, she'd probably get away with it. But that's not what TikTok celebrities do. Instead, Shah did the opposite. She posted it on TikTok for her 1 million plus followers, prompting outrage and criticism on social media. The government launched a small investigation, but she never suffered any consequences. She got away with it this time. After a brush with the law, you'd think that Shah would be cautious about what she posted online. But in January of 2022, she did it again. Shah posted pics of herself after arriving in London carrying loads of cash. In the video, she claimed she brought it illegally from her native Pakistan. This time, though, she took things even further. She told her followers that even though they should be careful if they did something like that, it was easy for her and they could not stop her. She even said that in Pakistan, the laws are only for the poor. We can't say for sure if Shah learned from this. Still, nobody likes a gloater. This time, the outrage was loud enough that Pakistan's feds launched a money laundering investigation into Shah's activity. That's when things got uncomfortable. A prominent Pakistani politician stepped forward in Shah's defense in an unexpected twist. Daniel Malik, a former candidate for one of Pakistan's larger political parties and a businessman in London, told the press that the cash was his and he'd loaned it to Shah as a friend so she could make a fun little video for the internet. According to Danielle, the cash was all for legitimate business and Shah did nothing wrong. This must be true. When has a politician ever stretched the truth? Number 1. Andrew Hennels. Andrew went on Facebook and posted about his plan to rob his local Tesco supermarket. He must have made the post moments before walking into the store, because just 15 minutes later, police had him in custody. He managed to steal a getaway car in that short window and drove to a local pub. When police picked him up, they found the weapon he used to threaten the clerk and the 400 pounds he'd stolen from the store. The police seemed grateful for the Facebook post. To them, the pictures and posts confirmed what they already knew. Comment section: if you had to choose only one social media platform to use,